Welcome everybody to Dorktunes. Welcome back, should I say. This is episode 71. So a little bit of an explainer to do for you for first of all. I know it's been a really long time. It's been about 6 months since we last saw each other, had a good one-on-one. Unfortunately, the reason for that was a couple of reasons really. Pandemic, work, really busy. Also, technology has not been my friend, I'll be honest. Basically, what happened was my old Mac was 16 years old, almost, and she was creaking towards her deathbed. So we've eventually only recently just replaced her, unfortunately. She is still upstairs. She's sleeping. Not forever. And so we've got a brand new PC. Everything is all shiny and dancing, so everything's working now. So we'll be back now. This is episode 71 of Dorktunes. So I have a fantastic guest who I would like for them to introduce themselves.
Yes. So my name, I guess some people know me by my name Oscar. Some people know me by my name Rat Vader, and the guy that loves sunflowers. Yeah. From Sweden. Hi, everybody.
So, Oscar, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you kind of come from? Like, did you do the whole kind of, you went to music college, you did that kind of thing, or what happened?
I was drunk at a party, met a friend. They were making games. I was making audio. And they were like, we need someone to make audio. We made out. And that was the career start. Yeah, something like that, actually. No, about myself, I don't know. Always been fascinated with sound and music. It's like started back with this piano, actually. My mother and grandmother and grandfather had this piano at their place, trying it out when there was no technology stuff around. What to do,
I have to admit, it's a very beautiful piano.
It is, right? I feel they are with me in spirit. And yeah, it's nice. Yeah, and other than that, I just remember really liking music. I remember thinking that I knew songs before I had heard them, because apparently there was something there I could kind of grasp upon or understand. So
yeah, it's really strange because you just reminded me basically my very kind of first proper kind of memory with computer games actually revolves around the music. So it's not really surprising that I'm doing this.
What was it?
A game on the Amstrad called Solomon's Key. And it was like a kind of, you start at one point, you need to get to a door, but you need to collect the key as well. And you can create and uncreate like little blocks. So you could jump up them and kind of trap enemies and stuff and kind of travel around them. Just to remember the music, and to this day I still love it. I kind of go on YouTube and I'll listen to it for a bit. It's just really fantastic. And that was when I was probably about five.
Yeah.
And that
so when listening, what kind of memories do you get? Like what do you remember?
It's just a feeling, really. I can remember the situation I was in. I can remember how young I was. I remember how it made me feel. It's all of that kind of encapsulated into one, really.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah,
definitely. And I think that's what even now the music does to me. I can listen to certain pieces of music and they just completely blow me away. One of my favorite albums of the last 10, 15 years has to be the soundtrack for That Dragon Cancer by John Hillman.
Don't know about this one. Need to check it out.
It was a game that was released on Android. I'm not sure about iOS, but I've got it on my tablet, and it's basically a game that a couple wrote while they were going through with their baby son who had terminal cancer.
Oh wow!
And it's a song. It's a soundtrack basically about their experiences, and there's a piece of music on there that is probably my favorite piece of music of all time, and it's called "Awake, Oh Awake, My Joel." And no matter how many times I hear about it or I hear it, I listen to it, it always makes me cry.
Yeah, it stirs up emotion right now, even.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, totally. You
Yeah.
know, it's a really difficult subject. You know, cancer is really difficult, but cancer, I mean, and it's horrible for everybody, you know, who it touches, but particularly cancer in a young child who can't, you know, tell you how they're feeling or what they're feeling, etc. So, you know, that piece of music to me, it has a lot of hope in it, it has a lot of fear in it, it has a lot of love in it, you know, and just confusion. And it's done in such a way where the notes are so far apart, they let you listen to every single one and it lets you breathe in between. But yet it's a beautiful piece of music, you know, and it's only very short. It's about 2.5 minutes long. So, but yeah, always one of my favorites, without a
Wow.
doubt.
Lovely, lovely. I mean, imagine something can do that, stir you up emotionally like that. That's just amazing.
Yeah, totally. And this is
Yeah.
Frida. Hello.
Hey,
Um,
Frida.
so how did you, I know obviously recently you released the Gunk.
Mm-hmm.
How has that been for you? I mean, how did you kind of, was it the same you were saying earlier on, you were at a party, you know, you had a chat with somebody and that's just how it happened?
Yeah, sort of. I guess, like, you know, being at it for so many years,
Mhm.
hustling, you know, you get
Yes.
to know people, you know, and just meeting a lot of lovely people. I mean, I know you had UL Billy on the show as well, but you know, we
Yes.
work in the same city, and Gothenburg is, in my opinion, a great city when it comes to games. We've had a lot of good titles coming out from the city, and it's
I'll
not
have to,
that big.
yeah, I'll
So,
have to come across sometime.
you know, it's little London, you know, it's just across the water. You have to come, you know,
Yeah.
visit both of us. Yeah. So yeah, and then, you know, meeting people, because everyone loves this industry, works in the industry, then, you know, you sort
Mhm.
of get in there, and yeah, that's how it happens somehow.
Yeah, I think it's, the games industry, it's a funny one. Once it's really difficult to get into, but once you're in, you're in.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
I've been really lucky over the years because I mean, I started doing this about 10 years ago. And the reason I started doing it was because I love video game music. That's it, you know. And since then, I've started recording, or sorry, start recording. I've started to collect video game vinyl,
Yeah.
which is a really expensive hobby. Don't get into it.
I can imagine. Yeah, yeah.
But I love it, you know, I absolutely love it. And doing this has afforded me things that I never thought would ever be possible. You
Yeah.
know, I've got some really, really great friends like Niels and Joe, as we were talking about, Jess and stuff. But also it afforded me doing things like, for example, the end of 2019, I went to London on invitation from Gareth Coker to go to Air Studios to watch him record
Oh,
for a
wow.
day. And it turned out that when I went down, it was for Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Whoa. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced in my life. I'll be
Yeah.
brutally honest.
Wow.
And I had to sit on that for like a year, you know, and not say a word and not, you know, not share anything. So I get NDAs and stuff like that. And, you know, only recently, about 6 months ago, a game that I was music consultant, I was asked to be music consultant on a game. So my first paid gig, the game released last summer to really good reviews. So I never thought by doing a simple podcast that it would get me to this point and then beyond. So it's been a real pleasure to do, but I'm still doing it because of my love for music, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
That's,
connecting people with music, and then you're doing this podcast, helping, you know, share the love for this passion. I guess, you know,
yeah.
that it has to work.
So how long were you working on, I know that obviously you've recently released the Gunk. So how often were you, how often, I mean, how long were you working on that?
So there was obviously a bit of pre-production that I was part of as well.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, trying out, finding both the artistic vision of the game and also the sonic vision of the game.
Mm,
Uh, so that was like maybe 3 years in total, and
okay.
then the full work kind of went down 1 year totally from start to finish. A bit back and forth, of course, and not full time all time, but yeah, something like that. So
And how have you found it since sort of post-release?
I mean, I was having the discussion with Karin, one of the great animators on the Gunk, the other day, that there are not enough talks about, you know, post game release depressions.
Yeah, I get you. I totally get you.
Because I don't know, the subject of that is I don't know why people, and I mean, I'm already on my next project, you know, so both working on games, my own stuff obviously, and my new music for games as well. But yeah, it's weird. It's like, I don't know how you feel about that, but when doing something that you devote yourself so tremendously into, and then just coming out of that and sort of like, you know, what happened, and the games going live, and it's weird. It's really weird.
It's really, and it's really nice to see, you know, something that, like, I never thought I'd see, for example, you know, my name in the credits for a game, but there it was, you know. And I'd love to do more, you know. So if anybody wants a music consultant, please point them my direction. I'm good.
Yeah, but yeah, how do you handle it, like coming out from that stuff? Or do you feel, is it weird when you're done, or
it was weird because, you know, people won't always wonder what a music consultant does, and it's actually a really difficult job, because at the end of the day, I was shaping how that was going to sound, you know, the whole game, just by my kind of knowledge levels and kind of suggestions, and, you know, knowing how the characters were, the conversations, you know, where that was going, kind of the setting, everything. So there was a lot of work that went into it, you know. So it's not just something that I kind of, you know, whistled off in a couple of hours. It just wasn't like that. And to see the kind of pre-build up was really exciting, you know, because I knew exactly what was going on from behind the closed doors. So I was on the other side this time, and then seeing release day, then seeing the reviews, and, you know, making special trips into town so I could go buy Edge magazine, so I could physically have it in my hand. You know, that was there. And it's nice to see them referencing the music. And never in my days did I expect somebody like that, who did the music, to do the music. And it was just astounding to me, because I don't, you know, Kevin Penkin.
So bad with names, sorry. No.
He was BAFTA nominated for his game Florence that he worked on, and he's done loads of stuff for Netflix. He's amazing. He's from Melbourne. I met him once at EGX in London. I met him actually with Lena Raine as well, who obviously, you know, Lena from Celeste and so much, and Chicory and so much more. And they're both powerhouses. And I never thought that, when I was told who was doing the music, I literally cried, you know, because it was an honor to know that the work that I did kind of pointed in that direction. So, you know, I think I get you about post-release kind of come down.
Yeah.
It is difficult, because you've put so much kind of love and care into the whole project, and then to see it kind of out there and gone, and, you know, it's got its own four legs and it's running with it, you know, it's nice, but it's difficult, because you're like, what now?
I mean, me and my friend, we usually talk, it's almost like, you know, you're a child, you've been nurturing for so long, and then it goes out into the world, and you have to be the parent that just see it flies away. And
it has to do its own thing, and you can't, you know. No, so what was your process around kind of creating the music for the Gunk?
So Gunk was fascinating and interesting in a lot of ways. This time I spent a lot of time out in nature, actually. Try to wander around. For those of you who've played the game, there's a lot of nice visual kind of atmospheres and stuff like that. So I started the whole project. I was out at the Bohus Malmen, which is like on the west coast of Sweden. And me and a friend would bring some, you know, analog instruments, and then just kind of, you know, the winter periods, the sun is not up that long. So when the sun is out, we took our chances to go out and just explore the world, and then bring those ideas back into wherever we were, and continue from there when the sun slowly went down.
I mean, the soundtrack, as you know, I think it's wonderful. You know, I've just finished the game the other day. quite short, but a really enjoyable experience, and completely different for Image and Form from what they've done previously.
True. Yeah.
So did you find that was kind of like a bit of pressure almost in a way, because it was so different from what they've done before?
Yeah, obviously. I know that the studio, this was their first, 3D title, and they moved away from working with their own engine to Unreal. So of course it was a big thing for the studio. And yeah, also I guess because the people that know Image and Form knows of their SteamWorld series, that's been a huge success. So especially
love them.
Yeah. So I mean, SteamWorld Dig 2 is fantastic. It's like so yeah, of course, that's it. But then again, the team changes and there are new people coming in as well. So, and I was just, excited also to be brought on board to do something else as well. So,
And you said now you're working on your next title. Obviously, you're under NDA and.
Actually, we don't really have any super. It's more of an indie thing going down now, so it's not. But no, I can't talk too much. But it's with great friends, and
Good.
Yeah, it won't be too long. And I got your address. I can, sneak you. But yeah, it's already interesting to go. I thought when you said the nice thing of the song that you referred to, that was so nice that the tones were so separate apart that there was some kind of way for you to breathe between them in the game you were. I feel like that's the thing where I'm trying to now like really land between the Gunk soundtrack and just regain my breath and vision for this next thing. So I'm in between those notes right now.
It's funny you should say that, because there's a lot of composers that I know that are they're so busy, they're working on various different projects all the time. Do you think that would be something that you could do? Because personally, for me, I couldn't do that, because it's just blow my mind. Because you've got, I don't know, for example, Call of Duty, which is shooty bang bang,
Yeah.
and then you've got something like the Gunk, which is kind of gentle and kind of, I just couldn't separate myself from doing one or the other. Do you know what I mean?
I think I'm getting older, because that's how my life has always been. I mean, from November 2000. From November 2000, I released my own album. Then I released a Populous Run soundtrack for the Apple Arcade, and then I released the Gunk, and here I am now. So it's been like two soundtracks and one album on the course of 1.5 years, and now I'm moving to my next. So I just feel like now I'm trying to, because the projects are a bit longer now than before as well. So I think I know how to do it, but I want to try out the thing of actually being a bit more grounded between those things, because
And has obviously we are going to touch on this, because the world has the pandemic changed things for you in relation to kind of how you approach your work, or how you work with other people, or is it kind of just more of the same, really? Because a lot of people I've spoken to, composers, have said hasn't really changed anything, just means that we can't do much kind of face-to-face stuff, but obviously that's changing now.
No, I would say I can agree on that. I do feel the Gunk was a bit weird in that sense, where, basically for 1 year I was isolated in the studio by myself. I couldn't really visit the office of Image and Form. So it would be a lot of meetings through, different chatting programs or whatever. But at the same time, I thought it was very nice to, I mean, in some senses it suited the Gunk. For those that haven't heard the soundtrack, it's kind of calm and very like mysterious. And I know IGN wrote that they thought the soundtrack was very nice and meditative in one sense. And I think that when I'm now slowly starting to look back at it, I can already say that I started meditating last year. The Gunk and the Corona situation made everything kind of calmer, because you were alone. More thoughts could emerge from deep within. And I think that actually is reflected in the soundtrack. So in that sense, I think it was positive, actually. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, personal situations for people have definitely impacted on other soundtracks that I know of. For example, Jessica Curry, her soundtrack for Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is one of my favorite of all time. It was my most listened to album for about 5 years straight. Honestly. I love it. I absolutely love it. There's just something really, as you said, ethereal, really relaxing about it. It's my kind of go-to calm album. And at the minute, you know, I'm suffering quite badly with what they call flashbang headaches. So they're a bit like cluster headaches, and they're so intense. So I can't really listen to anything that's really kind of, you know, boom, boom, bang, bang. Because it just, I can't, you know, I'm on some quite heavy medication. So stuff like that I really enjoy. You know, I've always kind of enjoyed the choral side of stuff because I was in a choir from when I was like, you know, very little up until for many, many years, probably 15, 16 years, you know, in one way, shape or form. So, but definitely, I know that she's mentioned before in other interviews that her health at the time definitely influenced how the sound that she created for that. So I can definitely get with you on how you were with the Gunk.
Yeah. And it's interesting then that actually also resonate with you listening to that album. I mean,
oh yeah, totally. You know,
like, you know, all the way.
Yeah, totally. It's really funny because, you know, I've had a conversation with Joe from the flight about this previously, and both of us are very similar in a way in that we really feel music. You know, as I said to you, you know, that piece of music, Awake, Oh Awake, My Joel, makes me cry pretty much every time I listen to it, you know, and it's been something that's been around for years. But there are definitely other pieces of music, you know, it could be a soundtrack for something, you know, whatever, that absolutely resonated with me. And, you know, I well up sometimes at music. I get, you know, it makes me kind of, not upset, but, you know, I feel that always, you know, and that's just how I've been. And Joe is very similar. You know, we'll send a piece of music saying, you need to listen to this, you know, this is just, it just makes, it blows my mind. You know, we are very similar in that respect, in that we kind of feel it here, you know.
I mean, I think it's just beautiful. It's the true kind of example or test of why music can like break, you know, borders or whatever you call it, walls, and how it transcends like from, you know, someone feelings, you know, holistically, and then to you, like when listening, it's magical.
It's really funny because it's really funny because my other half is not a gamer whatsoever, but will happily listen to, you know, sit and listen to, if it's on in the kitchen or if it's on in the sitting room, will happily sit and listen to it. Really enjoys that kind of respect, in that respect. And that's kind of nice, because I always say to people, look, even if you're not a gamer, you know, try listening to some of the soundtracks, and I'll suggest ones to people because they're missing out on a lot.
I mean, I think it's also, you know, people that don't play games is a safe haven for people. And the music is, you know, made with the idea, I mean, at least for the Gunk also, you know, to be a safe haven for people to escape their everyday life. And I mean, certainly with Corona, maybe, you know, you need that escape even more, and, you know, enter a new nice vision like world. And obviously that will work as well if you just listen to the music, because the whole thought of it will transcend that thing as well. So,
you know, like, as I mentioned, you know, I'm not particularly well at the moment. And that's exactly what I've been doing, is I've been using gaming as my escape, you know, because that's how I relax. You know, I can sit in front of an Xbox, in front of the PlayStation 5 for a few hours and just forget about everything. And that's totally how it helps me, you know. And if it has a nice soundtrack, great.
Final comment. No, but I would say, I mean, I imagine that is the case for a lot of people. I think that's, you know, I think the times has, you know, gaming has saved a lot of people, seriously. Like, you know,
so amazing. I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. Obviously I've mentioned a few soundtracks that I really like. What about you? Is there a couple of soundtracks that you kind of think, wow, love them?
There are a lot. I managed to get my friend, like one of my oldest friend, Gubian, to play Journey the other day.
Oh yes.
I was like, you know, it's time, you need to do that. So obviously. And okay, I'm gonna get like back on the spot thing where it's like, I must say, you will, that you've already had on board. Like, I think his soundtrack, and he just put out a game, Wave Tale. It's so hard because the game, I knew of the game name before, you know, they've changed. So I was like, wait, what is it now? I think it's fantastic. Obviously, Disaster Pieces, love his stuff. It's amazing. And Mechanium, is it right? Mechanium. Oh, was it? I can't remember the studio's name, but yeah, there are so many talents going on these days, man. I think it's fantastic, and so it's so widely represented in genres and in emotions and styles. So it's hard to pick one. Or
you mentioned Joel, his soundtrack for Faye, just love that. Absolutely love that.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if you've heard so much from the new game, Wavetale. I know it's not out
actually.
Yet, I mean, I think he topped himself off with that. It's like, I mean, it's another game, obviously, and there's something else, but oh man, he's got something, that boy.
Yes, definitely. It always amazes me though how you're always so busy, composers. You never stop. You never take time for yourself. It's like, I've just released this one. Now I'm working on this one. Now I'm doing this one. I'm going to be doing this one. And it's like as you mentioned, Journey. Journey was the big one for Austin. That was the kind of his jump off point. Austin's a really good friend, and he is one of the busiest men I have ever seen. You know, he is just a machine when it comes to composing, and it just blows my mind.
Will there be no? Yeah. I mean, I think there are a lot of machines, but you know, you need to put in the oil sometimes. I think it's easy to overwork in this industry. I mean, it's like but yeah.
So obviously you said you're working currently on your next kind of project. How long do you think that will be before people will find out what it might be?
That's a good question. I don't know that actually who will press the button on now you're allowed to talk. But I mean, there are some stuff out there, and I mean, knowing that I'm working on something new, if you follow me on social media, I think you know, there might be stuff out there that you can kind of sort of get this, you know, in line with that. But yeah, I'm hoping it won't be too long actually. So,
and it's always exciting when it is announced, because then you can actually finally talk about it, and you're like, right, I've had 6 months of, you know, this that I want to talk about, so let's go.
Yeah, I mean, we did the first sketches on this like 5 years ago. So
wow,
you know, like my Nicholas that does the art, we went out to Switzerland and did actually the first things, and it was kind of exciting. With like one song that I think will be on the game was, we met this lovely lady at the restaurant that played the cello, and she was like, oh, can you come and like hear me play? And I was like, yeah, of course, I can record you, and also maybe you can record something for me. So I wrote a piece down there, like you know, the following hours, went to her place the next day and we recorded it. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so you know, and that was, you know, an idea, like that was, I recorded a big meditational like a symbol at my uncle's place in, you know, Asia. And that is also so long ago. So it's like, you know, the whole, your life kind of intertwines, and yeah, it happens somehow. So yeah.
Do you find that kind of the work that you do is quite organic almost in a way?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's a part of yourself from previous and present that kind of combines, and, you know, meeting new people, talking about new stuff, getting inspiration, blah, 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 all that stuff. That's, I think, for me at least.
Good.
Yeah.
So I think what we'll do is we'll kind of finish up now, if that's okay. But I just wanted to say a massive thank you for being our first guest back. You know, we have stepped back into the arena. We are here again. But just yes. So what I will say is thank you again for taking the time to speak with us, or with me, having the conversation. It's been lovely.
Yeah.
And well, good luck.
So it's like, you know, more than you. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. There's one there. The other one's downstairs. God knows what she's doing. So, but thank you again, and good luck with the new release. And hopefully we'll hear something from it soon.
Yes, I hope so too. And keep on doing this thing and spreading game music so people can hear it. Yes. Yes,
definitely. And hopefully we'll see the Gunk on vinyl at some point.
I'm hoping so too. Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Thank you very much. And thanks everybody. We will be back soon.
Yes.